I really enjoy Paulo Rubio and his commentary on Filipino martial arts and combatives. The other day, he put out a video on knife combatives based on the criminal use of knives, such as the Medusa system, the Piper system, and the Libra system. I believe that most practitioners of these disciplines consider what Paulo Rubio was saying. None of us ever want to use this. None of us ever want to have to be in a place where this is an appropriate use of force. By that I mean stabbing the shit out of somebody. There is nobody who practices these disciplines that wants to go there. And you may ask yourself, well then why do you do this? Well, the answer's not simple. And in some ways it is. One of the reasons I do these types of combatives is it gives me a base from which to understand what kind of knife defense I have to develop against what kind of aggression I could potentially face. So when it comes to knife defense, combatives based in criminality help keep my martial arts a little more realistic, in my opinion. Remember, this is very subjective anyway. The other thing is, some of us want to have that worst case scenario type skills in case we ever have to face the worst case scenario of violence. And while many people will say use a handgun, many of us live in cultures and countries where that is not possible due to the legislation of firearms there. Most of us who practice these disciplines understand that this kind of use of force where we're stabbing somebody is something we are likely to never face. It's like an insurance policy that hopefully you never have to use. But the other side of this is that we never have to go to that weapon. We never have to go to the stab. We can stick to the empty hand striking if that works, the preemptive striking, and all of that rather than going into the knife. We have to train to be able to scale our use of force. And I believe from talking to many people who follow these disciplines, who train these disciplines, 100% of the people I talk to who do this kind of stuff understand that and train to scale their use of force. Now, I can only say that I know a handful of these people, but they are very prominent people in this industry, in this discipline. So, having said that, believe me when I say we do practice to scale use of force. And the other thing is, some of us, most of us, also do the artistic, cultural knife disciplines as well as other martial arts. We train in many artsy, flowy, beautiful kind of disciplines. Training these kinds of knife combatives without the understanding of use of force models in your culture, without understanding what constitutes self-defense according to criminal law in the country and culture that you live in, is irresponsible. And I don't think anybody who practices this doesn't look into that, doesn't understand that. Personally, I understand that here in Canada, the law says your actions have to be reasonable to the situation. So you need to understand the terminology and the ways that law enforcement express their use of force and justify it. You need to understand that if you used an edged weapon, you will be looked at as a criminal because of how edged weapons are viewed in our culture and society. So these disciplines are not for the lazy. They're for the kind of person who will do research, who has good control over themselves and their emotions, and understands that the consequences of going hands-on with an edged weapon can be, and probably will be, catastrophic to your life.